Okay, I just acquired this deck and I thought I would do sort of a review of this one. So again, this is a new deck for me. I have not used it yet. So I'm going to pull forward the cards here as we go. This is, of course, the Ancestral Path Tarot. And that's basically the back of the card. I will go through some of the imaging as well and give you sort of a rundown of the book. So the book is fairly small. It's just a very thin guideline book here by Tracy Hoover on the text. So I'll just quickly pull out a few of the images for those of you that are considering purchasing this one. So we've got 10 of Sacred Circles, Princess of Sacred Circles. So very bright colored imaging. I love that. And it certainly does have a lot of humanity-based sort of pictures, very oriented around people, for sure. Very majestic figures. Of course, I am pulling the kings and the queens. Yeah, I really like this deck, actually. This is, again, new for me. But the Ancestral Path Tarot is by Julie Cuccia. And it is a 78-card deck with an instruction booklet. And just to kind of give you like a rough idea of what the guidelines of some of the images are and how they refer to the regular tarot. Of course, it's a larger card stock, absolutely. I would say double the size on that. And certainly in going through, I just want to see whether or not it references in the same way as the regular tarot. So I'm just looking up the Ace of Cups right now. Okay, and of course we all know that the Ace of Cups does signify, it can be new love, it can be anything that's involving some kind of a new start, new, welcoming money path, or anything that's very positive emotionally. So of course in this deck, how that references, I'm just still looking it up, guys, 2 more seconds. This one actually does talk about it as light is being shed into the dark corners of a situation. So it's allowing for you to see a complex, simple solution to a complex problem. So it does indicate that there's more illumination to something that might have been more of an emotional, tumultuous situation. So it is a little bit different than what the usual rendering of that tarot meaning would be, but let's continue on and sort of see. I'll choose another one here just to give you sort of a guideline. So again, very large scale imagery, lots and lots of distinct color. People definitely are, and because this is the Fool's Journey, I would say that's why there's so much of the imagery that's distinct around people, because that is the Fool's Journey. So let's try the 7 of Cups and see what that one comes out as. 7 of Cups. Okay, so generally 7 of Cups can be a lot of options, can be confusion, around a situation. It can sort of discuss, sort of illusory scenarios, that kind of thing. But let's just see how it references in this one. So yeah, it's about visions and omens and following your intuitions and trying to look into the meaning of your existence and your purpose for living. So there's a little bit of a twist on some of the meanings, although it is roughly loosely based around the same. Let's look up the 10 of Cups, since it seems to be on the cups right now. Okay, so the 10 of Cups, we all know that to be, the happiest card in the deck. It's generally in around happy scenarios, family and otherwise, getting the things that you want. And of course, in this deck, it actually is the same. So it's home, happiness, family, friends, success, establishing territory over an area of one's life, and kind of represents making boundaries of one's personal environment. So we'll kind of go into some of the other ones here and see if that gives us even more of a clear. We won't stay with the cups. We'll go into, I just wanted to give you an idea of what you're looking at as far as some of the imagery. Okay, so now we're into the swords. Let's see what the 9 of Swords. We know the 9 of Swords can be, having a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, a lot of concern over in a particular area of one's life, communication issues, but 9's also being closer to the end of a situation. Let's see where that falls in this particular deck. Okay, so the 9 of Swords in this deck is talking about a prophetic dream and being in a critical position that may affect events. So you can also be overwhelmed by sudden feeling of danger, you know, and something along the lines of, you know, obviously insight's not being pleasant at that point. So let's go into Six of Swords. We'll check out that one. Six of Swords with this one does refer to mental harmony. So sixes, of course, are all about harmony and balance anyway. And the fact that we're dealing with the Six of Swords does indicate that usually it's going away from a problem and all of those kinds of things. And so with this particular deck, again, it still talks about separating yourself from uncertainty. So putting the past behind you, for example, anything that was a false sense of security, betrayal, exploitation, anything along that line. So yeah, absolutely. It's still kind of in the same vein, although some of it's slightly different. And we know the Seven of Swords to be the thief in the deck oftentimes, or, you know, people around us that are conniving, or, you know, having to strategize in a situation, that kind of thing. So let's see how it pairs with the actual deck here and the book. It does talk about, yeah, same thing, manipulation, extortion, sort of the thieves card, getting away with something. It's a warning card, of course. So yeah, that's pretty much the same there. And let's see what else we've got here. So I'm just taking through some of the deck itself. Like I said, I would say that it's very good cardstock. Definitely feels as though we have a lot of people imagery as the significant part of the deck. People are definitely the prominent feature, which is great. I like that. Really pretty deck. Lots of color. Let's look up Seven of Staves. Okay, so that one would be basically, I guess, Seven of Wands, and so it would be in around the same thing. You know, you're having the upper hand in a situation, persevering, you know, going for the things that you want. And of course, in this deck, how that pairs out is that it's solving riddles. It's actually taking yourself into a daring position, and kind of coming together with an experience so that your goals are synthesized with the past. Interesting. So that's a different take. The Eight of Staves, we'll look at that one. Of course, Eight of Staves, something really, usually it's communication coming in really rapidly, something along the lines of, you know, rapid reaction to something. Could be a lot of anger, whatever, depends on how it's paired. But with the Eight of Staves, this one in the book does speak to swiftness, speed, skill, raising against danger, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's about the same thing. So let's carry on. I just wanted to give you some idea of what to expect if you were purchasing this deck. And like I said, I mean, it does look to be, I would say it's a worthwhile deck. And of course, it's going to be differently priced depending on where you get it. If you're getting it from Amazon, if you're getting it from the store, that kind of thing. I can't remember offhand what this one was, but it's probably in around the $40 to $50 mark. And I will say, for some of these decks, guys, hang on to them, because some of them are actually worth money. I actually had another deck which unfortunately did destroy, and I found out later that they were selling that for $400 or almost $400 on another website. So it is worth it to look after your decks, because they can be worth money down the road. It's a collector's item like anything. Actually, let's look up the High Priestess. Just to make, we all know that High Priestess can be following your intuition. For those of you that follow tarot, can also represent, you know, it's all of the mysteries and keeping to yourself, being a little more aloof, but it's coming from a place of knowledge. It's also having a lot of spiritual knowledge, and as I said, coming off as aloof, but it's usually the Four Queens rolled into one here. So let's see how that fares with the High Priestess in this deck. Couple of seconds, guys, almost there. Yeah, so it's the same thing. It does represent that feminine energy. It is speaking to intuition and wisdom, self-sufficiency. Not a very emotive card. It's really one that is speaking to more intuitively picking things up. So yeah, same sort of idea. I wouldn't say that it really distinctly talks about the reversal meanings for these cards, but it does give sort of a sense of that. It doesn't like outline it with a heading, this is the reversal meaning of it. It'll just talk about it toward the very end. Very short, brief meanings, like I said, with the cards. Let's look up the Hermit. We all know the Hermit to be one of wisdom, stepping back, looking for guidance, you know, again, following intuition, but also sort of rooted in the practicality for me with this one. So let's see where it starts with this one. Yep, solitude, knowledge, same sort of idea. So it is basically around the same idea as the regular captions that you would find in traditional tarot. And we've got the Chariot. The Hanged Man would be the hanged one. Strength card. Wheel of Fortune. So all in all, really good deck. Like I said, I would say this is well worth it. The card stock is amazing and very large imagery. Might be a little harder to shuffle, but for those of you that prefer a larger card, it's definitely that. So just about done here, guys. I just wanted to give you just sort of a quick update on what to expect if you were, so it's a part of the review here. Definitely, as I said, hardy stock, great imagery, lots of color and imagery as well. Like, I mean, they're very thought-provoking. I find that sort of a mystical deck in itself. It does have a lot of spiritual renderings, I would say, with this one. Some of them are more vintage, that kind of thing, whereas that's not really the case with this particular deck. Really love it. So yeah, anyway, for those of you that are interested in this particular deck, again, it's called the Ancestral Path Tarot, and well worth the investment.